Welcome to the Piece of Me podcast, the place to find different ways to bring enjoyment, simplicity, happiness, and of course, more peace into your life. Life gets busy, noisy, and at times it's messy. I'm here to help you clean things up and put peace back in its place. Each episode, I'll share tips, ideas, and fresh perspectives to help you live your best life. Hi friends, it's Lexi Lee. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new, welcome to the podcast. I'm so glad you'll be joining me for today's episode, which is something that I just decided to kind of pop on here and talk about because something just happened. And I thought, you know what? If I'm thinking about this, chances are you might be too. So today's episode is all about when your success surpasses your circle. So what I'm really talking about is when you have success in your life, whether it's in your career, maybe in a relationship, maybe you got engaged or got pregnant, you bought a house with a significant other, or like I said, career could be a promotion at work or a new job, a bonus, some type of an award or recognition, things like that, or just maybe you had a success in some other way. And if you've ever found yourself so excited to share the success, but then maybe paused because you weren't really sure who to share the success with because maybe those in your circle wouldn't support you the way you were hoping. So that's kind of what I just wanted to really quickly talk about because I think this is one of those topics that it just kind of in life happens, as our relationships change, as our interests change, as our just who we are as people change. Sometimes our circles do change, or sometimes we do hold on to maybe people who we've been friends with for a long time. And maybe they're growing with us, or maybe we're growing in different directions. And so sometimes when we want to have or lean on those people to share our success with, they might not be as responsive as we were hoping they would be. So, I was thinking about this. A girlfriend of mine and I were talking about some success she was having. And she said something to me that just kind of really made me feel sad for her because she was having success in her career. She had just got a new account in her business that she worked really hard for. She had to do a lot of research and really develop some relationships and really just, took a risk, and it wound up paying off for her. And she was so excited to share the connections she had made and the potential of this account and all the great things she was going to do for her client. And so she called me and she's telling me all about it. And you can just hear in her voice how excited she was and how proud of herself she was because it took so much work. But then she also said something that made me pause. And she said, I can't just call anybody. She's like, I realize that my cheerleaders are getting smaller. And she goes, I can't keep calling my mom. And now that was kind of interesting to me, but she goes, I can't keep calling my mom. My sister doesn't really understand. She goes, and a lot of my friends aren't really that happy for me. And so, of course, like I said, I felt bad, but I also wanted to know more about what she meant. And she said, well, I tell my mom these things. And of course, my mom is supportive, but she's like, my mom doesn't really get it. She doesn't really understand the magnitude of the work that's behind everything I just did. Like, she doesn't understand all the effort, but she's supportive. Okay. Her sister's going through something difficult. So when someone else is going through a really difficult or traumatic time, it can be hard for them to show up for you too. So she says, I don't want to necessarily throw salt in the wound. And then when it came to her friends, she felt like, well, a lot of my friends are not experiencing success right now either. They're going through something difficult, or if they've had success, her success could seem like it's bigger than theirs, and they might feel like she's one-upping them. So she said, here I'm having the success, and she goes, I'm learning to keep these successes to myself. And when she told me that, it kind of got me thinking that I've done the same thing too. That whether it's just something that you would, when you think about fun and exciting things that happen in your life, I think a lot of times we want to tell people close to us what it is. Hey, I just bought my new house, or, my offer was accepted on a house, or hey, we're pregnant, or I just got engaged, or, you could be losing weight. Maybe you're losing weight and somebody else near you is trying to do the same thing and they're not able to have the same success that you are, or they just don't support you in your fitness journey because that's not their thing. So you being into fitness and they're not into fitness, they can't really show up for you the way that you're hoping to be supported. So there's so many ways that these successes can show up in your life. And if you've ever found yourself where maybe you wanted to pick up the phone and call somebody, but then you paused and said, you know what, I don't think this person is going to give me the support I'm hoping to, like that I'm hoping for. This is something that maybe has affected you too. So maybe I'm not alone in thinking that there's probably a lot more people out there who have had success, but then felt like I can't really share it. And that's such a bummer, right? Because we share our negative things, right? If we're going through something hard, we'll tend to tell somebody about it or turn to somebody for advice or vent to people. But when we have success, it's like, wow, we really do have to sometimes think about what those successes are and who we can actually share them with, because not everybody is going to be the audience for that. So this got me further thinking, even I, kind of took this a step further. Even social media. If you have, now I also understand that with social media, there are algorithms to what shows up. You might have 1,000 followers or 1,000 friends on social media, but maybe only 10% of those people, if that, are the ones that come up in your feed all the time. So if you think about, hey, I know I'm friends with somebody, but I haven't seen anything on social about what's going on with them. There's obviously some background algorithms that will feed into who comes up, whose stories you see, whose posts you see, things like that. So it could just be that the social media algorithms are just kind of hiding certain people, and that does happen, and it changes from time to time. But if you've ever noticed that certain people don't support you, so let's just say you post something on social media, but they seem to know about your success, but they didn't, support you socially. They didn't like your post, comment on your post, share your post. That's an interesting thing, right? You'll just see certain people maybe aren't showing up for you. And again, I just wanted to kind of take a moment to talk about this, because I guess the question is, when you do have a success, you want to celebrate it, right? You've worked hard to have this success, whatever it might be, whether it's a personal one, whether it's in your career, you want to share it. And now some of you listening might be thinking, well, how are they your friends if they're not there to support you? And I would agree with that. This might be a really good time to kind of evaluate your friendships. And I did do an episode on fading friendships a while back, where just sometimes our lives take us in different directions. And it's not to say that somebody is toxic for you or it's a toxic relationship, but maybe that person, you and that person just don't have the same connection anymore. And maybe you're not showing up well enough for them. And maybe that's why they're not showing up and supporting you. It does go both ways. But maybe this is a time to look and think, wow, if I have something I want to celebrate, if I have a success that I want to celebrate, and I don't really have people in my circle who I can pick up the phone and share this with, maybe it is time to evaluate that circle and kind of decide, who should be in that circle anymore, right? So this conversation with my girlfriend and I really kind of stuck with me for a while. I felt so excited for her, and I also really felt honored that she felt that I would be the cheerleader for her, that I have been a constant cheerleader for her, and that she knows she can pick up the phone, call me, and I'm the person on the other end that is celebrating that success with her. So I really felt good about that, and I appreciate her trust in me to do that. But I also felt really discouraged for her that she has these successes, and she's been having them pretty consistently. But that can be hard for other people. So I'll also put this out there. if you're somebody who, if you've ever felt kind of a certain way about someone's success, if you've ever felt kind of put off or triggered or hurt, or like you needed some distance from somebody from a success that they're having, that might be a sign that that's an area of growth and development for yourself. So for example, if someone has a success in a certain area and you don't feel supportive of them, you might feel jealous or envious or just kind of like, I want to mute their story. I don't really want to hear about that right now. If it's triggering that kind of reaction in you, then that's an area of development, meaning why, like kind of like that deep dive of why is it triggering that in you? And like, what can you do so that it doesn't feel that way, that instead you feel supportive of that person? I've also heard things where when it comes to success, everybody can have it. And it's not just a finite amount. It's not that there's only so much success in the world and that when somebody you know has X amount of it, that it doesn't mean that you can't also have it too. That, you know, you can have friends that make a good living, but that also means you can too. It doesn't mean that once they have it, you can't. Or, you know, if someone else has success with, you know, family or relationships, it doesn't mean that you too can't have that same success. Or if it's, you know, success in another area of life, it doesn't mean that just because they have the success that you too can't have that same success. So meaning it's not a finite amount. It doesn't mean that there's only a limited amount and that once it's been established with other people that you too can't have it, but you can. So if your friends are experiencing that success, you too can have that same success. Now, your journey to getting there, your time frame to getting there might not be the same journey. It could take you 3 months to get to that point, whereas your friend, it took 2 months. Or it could take you 1 month to accomplish something, whereas your friend, it took them 6 months to accomplish that thing. So whatever it is, life is a journey. We hear that all the time, and I get it because it's like a frustrating phrase. Like I totally get that. But if you're somebody who is supportive and you're a cheerleader to your friends, thank you for doing that because your friends appreciate you. And I hope in return you're getting the same support back. But if you're not, maybe it is time to find people who will support you and celebrate your success. I think one of the ways to do that is to also look within the people that are in that circle of that success. So for example, if you are, let's say, in fitness and whatever your fitness goals are, if it's to get stronger, if it's to lift more, if it's to run further, if it's to lose weight, whatever it might be, if you lean on the support of the people that are also within that community, you will get that support. So for example, if you are part of a fitness facility or a fitness studio or whatever it might be, lean on the people who are also going to that studio. Lean on the people who are also taking those classes or the people that are also lifting or the people that are also running. They will support you in that effort. Whereas some other people in your circle who might not be into fitness might not really know how to support you. They might be trying to help you, but maybe they're not as supportive as they think that they are. So maybe the first step is, if you're finding that in your circle, you're not getting the support, is find a circle that supports your interest. That's number one. I also think number two, it could be a time to evaluate who is in your circle, who actually has access to you. Maybe the people who are in your circle do have to change. And that does happen, and it's a painful process. But if you're finding you can't celebrate that, you know, that could be a really eye-opening thought process of, you know what, maybe these are just people, I let these friendships fade away. And my other thought with this is, if you are having successes, don't feel that you have to dim your own light. I recently saw, and I think I posted this on the podcast page for the Piece of Me podcast, and it was, don't belittle your accomplishments. You know, don't belittle the things you've done. A lot of times we do kind of dim our light so that someone else's can shine brighter than us. Or we kind of shrink ourselves or minimize our personality so that we don't overshine somebody else or that we don't make somebody else uncomfortable. So if you are having successes, maybe redefine your circle if you're not getting the celebration you think you should be getting or the support that you should be getting. I would also say too, maybe just I talk about this so much. I'm telling you guys, if you haven't started journaling, stop rolling your eyes. But seriously, pick up a pen, go get yourself a notebook. It is so good for you. It's not just a place to vent and, kind of process everything you're going through, but it's a really good place to capture your wins. So if you have these successes, it's so cool to write down the things you are accomplishing and the goals you're hitting or the goals you're making for yourself. You can use a journal for more than just a place to process thoughts. It can be a place to, people have gratitude journals, but it can also be a place of your goals and the things you've accomplished. And what's so cool is you can look back 6 months from today on that entry in your journal and see all the things that you accomplished. You can remember, oh, I did do these different things. I forgot about that. So sometimes it's just a reminder to yourself to keep going because you are doing great. So use a journal to kind of capture those moments because you might not be able to pick up the phone right now and celebrate those wins with your current circle. But you should not celebrate it at the same time. So find other ways, find people within the community that support your interests. Maybe find new people, maybe make new connections. Maybe there are coworkers of yours that really understand the wins that you're having. Or it could just be new friends that you make along the way, could be more of your support system. It's so funny too. I've heard other people say that sometimes the most support you get are from strangers online. And some of you might know what I'm talking about. If there's someone you've never met, but somehow you became social media friends, because I think we all have these, and they're like the most supportive people, listen, those people count too, right? If there's somebody out there who is hearing about or reading about your success and they are cheering you on from wherever they are, that's awesome. Appreciate those people. Make sure you're reciprocating back to them too. So I guess in conclusion, I had to pop on and do this episode. And normally when I do an episode, I have some kind of outline or different points I want to make sure I have to mention. But gosh, I just thought this is one of those things. We do have success in life. And so often we talk about the negative. We vent or we complain. And then when we have our success, we try to be humble. And we try to, we might kind of post something here or there, but we really should celebrate the success too. And if you are, I guess I'll end with this. If you are actually having more success than your circle, meaning if you are finding yourself more successful than your friends or the people that are around you, and again, you measure success however you see fit. People might feel a career or promotions or recognitions, that is success. Some people might feel that a happy home is success. Some people might feel that having a large family or whatever size family is success. So however you define success, keep that. And just maybe kind of, I don't know, just don't dim your light. Enjoy your success. Enjoy what you've created, what you've built. Don't dim your light. And understand that people will have success at different times. And just by no means, don't humble yourself. Don't feel that you have to keep it to yourself. You just might have to find new outlets. You might just have to find a different support system. But they're all out there, whether they're on social media, whether these people are within the community of the interests that you have together. Maybe it's certain friends going, different pockets of friends, but do celebrate your success. Don't feel like you can't because you've worked so hard to have it. So be happy about it. Celebrate it because that is what life is all about. So thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for letting me talk to you about this. And if you have gone through something similar, I would really love to hear about that because I think this is one of those topics that we don't talk enough about. It's kind of like a taboo topic, right? Because you might feel a little bit too Am I being too confident? I don't know. Am I being arrogant, right? If you have a success. But like I said, when I heard my friend's success and how she just wanted to celebrate, she wanted to share it, but then she felt like she couldn't. That was really discouraging for me. So if she's going through it, chances are you might be going through it too. All right, my friends, that's enough of me rambling on. I will, as always, talk to you in the next episode. So thanks for listening. Okay, friends, before you go, please rate this show. Your 5-star rating allows this show to reach more listeners just like you who could benefit from the topics being discussed. I appreciate you joining me. Follow the Piece of Me podcast on Instagram and stay connected.